won everything last year. I mean everything. He won every pole but one. He won every race. Now Pete Harrison is Smith gets around him. So Vern Smith still trying to set his sights on Gene Felton. And closing up, and Riggins is staying with that battle as well as they go around the hairpin. That's Riggins' car, the yellow and red car, running in third place. What a drive by Tommy Riggins.
Tommy Riggins has really come back into the hunt now. He might have been pacing himself, but you can see he's obviously very competitive. I think
Felton with as comfortable a margin, and believe me, that is not a comfortable margin, as you have ever seen. About 12 and a half minutes to go. Maybe the longest 12 minutes in a long time for Gene Felton, and for Vern Smith, and for Tommy Riggins. As they go at it, and Riggins, as you pointed out earlier, is not out of this thing by any stretch of the imagination.
To give you an idea how close this race is, we're almost 3/4 of the way over, and this is the biggest lead that Gene Felton has, and it's under 2 seconds.
Of all the Kelly races that we have seen, this is far and away the most competitive throughout the entire race. It takes a worried mind to be a pit worker. And a lot of cross fingers. You can see how those cars just almost sit down on that banking as the Chevy Camaros roar across start-finish. That is a particularly bouncy section of the circuit. They just went over the entrance to the first turn, the oval turn. It's almost like going off a cliff when you're in the car.
You notice, Bob, coming through turn 1, you can observe Gene Felton's car, and then watch Vern Smith's car. Vern Smith has a certain amount of oversteer in that car. I'm not sure if he's dialed that in or if he's having a problem with the rear tires overheating.
It has been, the back end has been working against him almost several times.
And the one thing you can't afford to do, you can't slide these cars too much. They weigh a whole lot, and if you do, you start getting excessive tire temperatures, and if you blister one of these tires, that's the end of your race. So you can still keep racing, but you're just non-competitive.
They are on racing slicks. These are not street tires. As the champion racer did earlier for you, those were street tires. These are not. These are racing tires. And again, you want to stay out of that gray area because as the race goes on, more gravel and little bits of tire wear that roll up into little balls, they call them marbles. You get out there and you can lose control of the car or cut a tire. Felton has led for a while now. This is the longest stretch of time that anybody has led in this race. Vern Smith has his work cut out for him. And it looks like Overby may have moved into, no, I beg your pardon, that's a lap car. That is a lap car. There's Smith. And Overby still, Riggins rather, still standing in third place. Tommy Riggins still in third. Felton coming up on a slower car as he goes into one, and going around a slower car as he goes into one. Car handles beautifully, and he works it beautifully. Felton kind of stiff arms the steering wheel, sits well back with arms extended, and you can see as he comes around the turn, the hands working the wheel there. Now, Vern Smith is caught behind a slower car.
That's the breaks of racing, Bob. Those things happen sometimes. It can happen to you or happen to your competitor. There's not a darn thing you can do about it.
Smith, now he's managed to get around that car, but Gene Felton has picked up space and time on the circuit with less than 9 minutes to go. 9 minutes can be a long time or a short time. It depends on what you're doing. You see Felton well out onto the back straight as Vern Smith just gets on it. We'll get a gap for you as they go down that back straightaway. Felton with a pretty sizable lead now, more than 3 seconds over Vern Smith. That's Smith in second place. Vern Smith looking for a break in the Kelly American Challenge at Pocono International Raceway. I'm Bob Steinbrink. We'll be back for the finish in a moment. Pocono International Raceway, Gene Felton still with the lead. Sports Center's sports news team works round the clock to bring you television's most comprehensive sports news program. 5 times a day, Sports Center proves itself the #1 source for scores, highlights, features, and commentary on the latest events in the world of sports. With updates throughout the day and a full hour of live sports news 7 evenings a week, Sports Center gives you up-to-the-minute sports information. Sports Center is an exclusive feature of your total sports network, ESPN. Gene Felton out in front, and we have less than 7 minutes to go. The margin 2.5 seconds. Vern Smith running out of time. Felton threatening to run away and collect his second victory of the year. He won at Road America. That gives you an idea of the space that Smith has to pick up.
I think what's happened, Bob, is that when Vern's car is in the infield, you see a fair amount of oversteer in that car. And I believe he's having to back off a little bit because he's got a tire overheating problem. I believe that right now he's thinking, I want to salvage this second place, take the points, and almost for sure wrap up the championship.
That would wrap up the championship. Give him 15 points, it'd be 119. With only 1 race remaining, Craig Carter, who is currently in 5th place here, could not possibly catch him. And Vern said, when I talked to him in the garage area yesterday, if it came down to it, he might drive a little more conservatively to make sure he got that good finish to lock up the Kelly American Points Championship. And that may be what's going through his mind right now. Tommy Riggins has dropped out of the battle for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. He is coasting into the pits as Gene Felton. There's Riggins.
Tommy Riggins,
Jacksonville, Florida.
Geez, that's a shame. After a good drive like that, he's coming into the pits. He's coming in very, very slow, so we'll have to see where the crew goes. If they open up the hood, we know what that is. If they run to the back of the car, you might have a tire, but I don't see the car in a unusual attitude, so I don't think you have a tire situation.
And I don't see any sign of smoke. He may have shut it off, but we'll see what happens when he gets down to his pit crew. Or perhaps he'll just take it right back to the garage. That's what he's doing.
Taking it back to the garage. That's
and we got a spin up on the entrance to the long back straight. Try to get a number on that car for you. I believe it is Paul Gentilozzi in the Aspen that is spun back there. That is a not too dangerous a place as the workers. Good job by the course workers here at Pocono. Yeah, that is Gentilozzi, and they have rolled the car off the circuit. That's one of the slowest places on the circuit, and the cars have plenty of opportunity to see the problem there and to see the yellow flag. Less than 5 minutes remaining, and Vern Smith tries to catch Gene Felton as they hurdle down that back straightaway. Felton crossing the stripe, and Vern Smith, and he is now 2.4 seconds behind. Into the pits, Charles Bells. Bells, who stood in 7th place in the Kelly American Challenge standings. In and right back out again. Trying to hold on to a position and collect some precious points because there is money at stake. There's your leader. Our leader. Gene Felton, the 96 Camaro. That car looks just as smooth now as it did at the start of the race, Bergie.
Yeah, it's really handling well, and Vern Smith has definitely slowed down a little bit. Vern Smith now just wants to finish and hold on to 2nd place. Incidentally, Vern Smith knows that Tommy Riggins is out of the race. He would have been aware of that because Tommy has disappeared from his rearview mirror. So Vern is just going to hold on for 2nd, wrap up the championship, be happy at that.
Be overjoyed at that, I would think. So we're going to have, it appears, 2 winners here today. As Smith...
You know, Vern Smith seems to be going unusually slow right in that area.
I was just going to say, he got up on that back straight and it took him a while to get up to speed. Could it be perhaps a gear problem?
Yeah, that's very possible. He may have lost one of his low gears. I don't know if he goes onto that bank in 2nd or 1st, but he sure did go up on it slow that time.
The pressure is off this man considerably now, Gene Felton, except Gene Felton, the last race, I believe it was at Road Atlanta, was running very, very strongly. Looked like he had, I think it was 2nd place locked up, and on the last lap, the fuel pump failed, and he did not finish the race. So you know what's got to be going through Gene Felton's mind with 2.5 minutes to go. We got Felton working his way into the S's in a car smoking up ahead of him, it looks like. So Felton's got to play pretty cautious here. Drove a very heady, brave race, and he and Vern Smith went at it like something you love to see. I can't see enough of that kind of racing. He's all by himself now in first place. Vern Smith is not any kind of a threat in second place, but nobody is a particular threat to Vern Smith. Now, running in third place now is Craig Carter, who is in second in the season standings. So Carter could pick up 12 points, but if Vern Smith gets 15 for second place, he will have put Craig Carter away for the season and clinched the championship. Gene Felton, the defending season champion, now is in fifth place, and he could move up several places with a win here. Down the Long Pond straightaway. Foot to the floor, Felton.
Notice how soft he's got that car sprung. It moves around quite a bit. If you notice Vern Smith, when his car comes around in that attitude, it is not doing nearly as much movement.
And as he goes into turn one, watch the bounce. Boom,
there you can see
right
it.
there. The car's almost bottom there. But that is part of road racing.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like a mirror. And it's not.
Well, everybody's racing on the same track. Everybody has the same problems.
Less than a minute to go now, so Felton should be on his last lap.
You see that little wave?
Yep.
He was waving that passing car. That guy moved off his line. That was Nicholas
Vicioni.
Vicioni
got out of the way.
The drivers oftentimes do that. If they have a chance, they'll thank him. If they do it with an open hand, they're thanking him. If they do it with a closed hand or the universal signal, they're telling him, I wish you'd move over a little bit quicker.
They're suggesting what may be your IQ if it's that signal. Onto the Long Pond Tri-Oval at Pocono, Gene Felton from Marietta, Georgia. 45 years old, last May 11th. On his way to a win. We are past 45 minutes now, so Gene should get the checkered flag this time. Coming into that 17-degree banking. Listening for things. Wondering if it's going to hold together for that final half-mile roll down to the start-finish line.
Right about now, you hear all kinds of grumblings in the car. It seems like everything starts to break, and you hear noises that you never heard before.
Checkered flag is out and waving for Gene Felton of Marietta, Georgia. Felton wins the Kelly American Challenge at Pocono International Raceway. And we wait for Vern Smith running in second place. By finishing second, Smith will clinch the season championship. Felton on his cool-down lap.
The Kelly American Challenge Championships goes to Vern Smith. Very good race. Gene Felton drove a heck of a race. I think that Gene probably had his car set up maybe a little bit better than Vern to go the whole distance. But then again, Vern realized that all he had to do is have a good finish, and he wrapped up the championship. So I'd say that you have two guys that are really happy.
And Gene Felton has had so many problems. This is his second win. He won at Road America, or rather Road Atlanta, the last race. No, Tommy Riggins won the last race, and Felton won at Road America. But only his second win, he finished second in a race at Sears Point. So it's been a long year for the guy who just literally was the name of this series for the first 4 years of its existence. An impressive job of preparation and impressive performance on the racing circuit by Gene Felton.
There's a shot of Craig Carter, third place, and I know that Bob Overby slid into fourth place.
So Carter picks up 12 points for second place, and that will move him to 89 points. Vern Smith gets 16 points, 1 point for the pole, and 15 for second place. So he's got 120 points. That is a 31-point lead with only one race remaining, and the most points that Carter could get would be 21. So Vern Smith has definitely clinched the Kelly American Challenge Championship. And Tommy Riggins finished fourth.
I believe Tommy Riggins was fourth. Let me see if I can get a rundown of that.
Okay,
no,
Gene Felton
I think it was Overby.
Overby finished fourth.
Yeah, Overby was fourth.
Okay, so Bob Overby will pick up 10 points for his finish.
I believe that Clay Young brought his Pontiac Grand Am home for 5th.
So Clay picks up 8 points. So Vern Smith has clinched first place, but there could be quite a battle for second place in the season standings. As Felton rolls down to victory circle, he was going to go back to the garage. Gene thinking, well, I did my job today. What the heck?
Great story on Gene Felton. His first IMSA win, 1973, in the Starlight race at Daytona Speedway. He brought out an old Pontiac, all covered with grease and dirt, put the thing on the pole. Other road racers like Peter Gregg said, that's impossible for Gene Felton to be on the pole. Your timing was all wrong. He took off, went into the turn first, the first turn, and led the whole race. People were going, who the heck is Gene Felton? Well, Gene Felton had come out of NASCAR racing, and he was good, and he's been consistently good. A hard driver, fun guy to race with, always smiling.
He started out the year in a Nova with a six-cylinder engine, figuring that the weight advantage would work, and it just didn't. And finally he gave up and went back to the Camaro and the bigger engine.
There's that smile.
How sweet it is. He is truly a good old boy. Very unassuming. That's Connie Goodenough giving him a kiss. Connie is the supervisor of this series for Kelly Services.
We might even get a chance to see Gene's racing shoes. He drives in leather cowboy boots.
Gene Felton on the victory stand. He'll be joined there by Vern Smith, who finished second. That was a good race. That augurs very well for the series in the years to come, I think, Bergie.
Yeah, it shows that you can build a race car, by golly, that'll handle and go fast and have some darn good racing. You're going to see a lot of guys building cars for the Kelly American Challenge. There's pretty good prize money in it, and there's good racing, and what more can you ask?
And these Camaros with all that power